So guys, I'm going to talk about split interviews. So what I call split interview is when you win the lotto and let's say you find yourself in another country and your husband or your wife or your children, they find themselves in another country. Let's say the country is not America. We are taking America out. If you win the lotto and you are in America, the process is a little different. But let's say you won the lotto, you find yourself in Germany, Italy, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Lebanon, wherever, okay? But your family is back home in Ghana, your family is back home in Kenya, your family is back home in Cameroon. I'm going to give you some options and you decide what is best for you, okay? Now, it is possible for you to go to interview in wherever you are without having to go back home. So let's say you are a Ghanaian, you won the lotto, you are now in UK, but your wife and children are in Ghana. When you win the lotto, you don't have to come back to Ghana. You can do your interview in UK, your wife can do her interview in Ghana. You don't have to go to the same place. That is why, you remember the video I talked about DS260, you must add applicants. Each applicant, there's an interview location. So when you know you are not in the same place and you're not going to bring all of you to the same place for the interview, then make sure that you specify where they will be going for interview on their DS260, okay? When you look at if your spouse is in Ghana and you feel they might not be able to join you where you are, then you must specify where they will attend their interview. It is possible for your spouse to do their interview in another country and you do your interview in another country. It doesn't matter who is the main winner, who is not, okay? When you are not the principal applicant and you go for the interview, your visa will not be approved. They will put it in administrative processing because you getting your visa depends on the main winner. So let's say my husband has won the lotto. I am in Ghana. My husband is in UAE. We process the stuff, but because Ghana is working so fast, shockingly, so I get my interview first. My husband is in UAE. He hasn't got his interview. When I go for my interview, my case will be in AP because he has not been approved yet, because I cannot get my visa unless his is approved. So they can schedule for me to go for interview whilst my husband is still waiting to go for his. My visa will not be approved. It will be kept in AP until his is approved so I can get mine. That is one way. Another way too is that if the case, let's say the husband gets scheduled first, okay? Let's say the main applicant gets scheduled first. My husband is in UAE. He has been scheduled for interview first. I am the wife. I'm in Ghana. And Ghana hasn't scheduled my interview, okay? Now, after my husband has completed his interview, he needs to contact Accra, the US Embassy, where his wife will be going for interview, and let them know that he has successfully completed his interview and he has passed. So his wife should be scheduled, okay? Do you understand this? Two scenarios. The first one is if the wife who is the beneficiary, the country she's in is processing things fast, she could get interview before the principal applicant, but they will keep her in AP until the husband, who is the main winner, visa gets approved before they can approve the beneficiary. But if my husband, who is the main winner, gets interview first and me, Accra being so slow, they haven't got to me, after my husband has completed his interview, he can contact US Embassy where I will be going for interview, and let them know that he has completed his and he has passed. So they should schedule me for me to go to my interview. And then the embassy will schedule me based on their availability. The fact that you told them doesn't mean they're going to give you interview the next day or the next week. The embassy will still see where they can, find spot and fix you in. Okay? Now, let's say my husband is in UAE. I am in Ghana with our children. We know that in UAE, the selectees there, they are less than 500. The people who were selected in UAE, they are less than 500. In Ghana, 3,000 plus. So if my husband is in UAE and I'm in Ghana with the children, it is wiser if he can. Let me underline that. If he can afford it, he should get visa for his wife to join him over there, so that they can attend the interview there. Let me give you one special example. So there was this guy, he's from Cameroon. And when he won the DV lottery, he was in Dubai. His wife was also in Dubai, but their son was back home in Uganda. So obviously, if he and his wife go for the interview in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and the son, they're waiting for the son to get interview in Kenya, the son may never get interview, because in Kenya, they are attending to 4 extra countries in addition to Kenyans. So what he did was that the wife went back to Uganda and brought the son there, so that they can all interview together. They got their interview, got their visa, and they are now, I believe they should be in America now. All right. So if you find yourself in another country, if you can afford, just find ways to get your family to join you where you are. If it is better for you to go to the interview there. If you are in a country that is processing faster, let's say you are a Ghanaian, but you are living in Cameroon, we know that when it comes to interview, Yaoundé, the US Embassy in Cameroon, they are champion. So instead of you carrying yourself and coming to Ghana, it is best you carry your wife and go to Cameroon instead of moving them backwards, right? Or it is better you have your family together than you deciding to do your interview and waiting for your wife to get interview in Accra, Ghana. So those of you, my brothers and sisters from Uganda, if your family, your spouse is in UAE, is in Qatar, is in Oman, Saudi Arabia, don't carry yourself and come to Kenya. You must do the other direction, because if you don't take care, you might not get interview. The same goes for Ghanaians. Okay? There are some embassies, they are overwhelmed with cases. So you have to be smart. Do the right thing. Like I said, I'm just giving you the options, and I will allow you to make the decision for yourself. When you win the lotto, you can have your interview in one country, and then your spouse can have theirs in their home country, where they are presently located. But if you look at the number of selectees and the embassy in the country that you are located, if they are favorable, if they have fewer people that want the lotto in that country, and the embassy is in better condition, if I were you, I will carry my family. I will try and get visa for them to join me where I am, so that we can do our interview there, than you carrying yourself back to your home country where things are not moving. Okay? But let's say it's not feasible. It is not something you can do. Maybe because of plane ticket, maybe because of visa, it might be difficult. Let's say you are in UK, your wife is in Ghana. Getting visa for her to come to UK might be difficult for you. Then this is what I would say. You can still get your interview in London, and your wife can wait and get their interview in Accra, Ghana. Okay? But even if you are in this sticky situation where your spouse is in a country that is slow motion, but you are in a place where it is moving fast, as long as you are the main applicant, to me, it is better. And I will explain to you why it is better. Remember that the DV lottery, everything rests on the main applicant. In most cases, it rests on the main applicant, except in situations where you borrow the eligibility from your spouse. That one, then it rests on that person. Okay? So, if you are a man, let's say you are in UK, your wife is in Ghana, you've tried to get visa for her, she's not getting. You go for your interview, your visa has been approved. You're waiting for your wife to get interview and your wife doesn't. Let's say your wife doesn't get interview. At least you have your visa. When you come to America and you get your green card, you can file to go and bring your wife. You see the logic? Sometimes losing is not bad. Sometimes if things don't work out the way you expected them to be, it doesn't mean it is all bad. So you are in UAE, your wife is in Kenya, your children are in Kenya. You are trying to bring them to UAE, but money no day. Don't bring yourself there, because this is the thing. If you bring yourself to that country and you don't get interview, you have cost your whole family. Does that make sense? If you bring yourself to Kenya, Kenya is dealing with 5 nationalities. You are in UAE, you win the lotto, and you want to bring your case back to Kenya. You know Uganda, they don't do interview in Uganda. You have to go to Kenya. They are dealing with 5 nationalities. So if you bring your case there and you don't get interview, you are not getting your visa, your wife is not getting, your children are not getting visa. But if you had stayed in UAE, even though you cannot afford to bring your wife and your child to join you so that you can attend the interview there, guess what? If you alone get your visa and come to America, your family still have a pathway to come to America because of the green card that you will be getting. But if you are not smart and you gather yourself and come back home and you don't get your visa, all of you scatter. Nothing. You have cost all of you the opportunity. I know some of you choosing to go through this without your family, it might be a difficult decision. I know a couple of people did that. I know a couple of people who did that in the DV2023. They were so concerned about their family that, hey, I need to bring my kids back to Ghana. I remember one guy. I decided to pick Ghana even though I'm in Europe because my wife and my children are there. So I decided to pick Ghana. I was like, hey, brother, you must take it back. And when he tried to take it back, they stretched him. I was like, you must get visa for your wife and children to join you where you are so that you can get the interview. He was able to do that and his family got their visa there. If they had waited in Ghana, that guy would still be in Ghana and no interview. So that's why, please think about these things. I know sometimes when people share their stories, their experience and stuff, sit down and think about it. What is the end goal? The end goal is for you to be in America. Whether it is your wife who is the winner who gets to come alone, or it is you, the man, you are the winner who gets to come alone, guess what? Your family will be able to follow you later. Even if they don't get their interview, they can follow you later and come to America because of the green card you'll be getting. But if you make that hasty decision and gather yourself and come back and sit in Ghana and you don't get interview, knowing well your case number is 50,000, you gather yourself and come and sit in Ghana and you don't get interview, you have cost your whole family. And when I'm talking about your family, I'm talking about your immediate family, your wife and your children, the opportunity to come to America. All right? So sometimes, instead of all of us losing it, let one person get it. Have that mindset that I want this interview. I want to be able to go with my wife and my children. I want to be able to go with my husband and my children. But if it's not possible, at least one person should go so that we can use that person for us to come there. Okay? But if you are somebody who has won the lotto and you are in America, your process is different. I've made a video talked about how that happens because that was my situation. All right? When my father won the green card lotto, he was in America, I was in Ghana. This is the thing. Oftentimes, when your family is divided, right? Let's say the person who won the lotto is in America and you are outside of America, right? Sometimes it could be because the person in America will do adjustment of status. That process will take time. And then by the time they finish, then now they need to notify the embassy before they can even attend to the other spouse. And sometimes by the time they get to you, the fiscal year has ended. And that's exactly what happened to me. By the time they attended to me, and with the things they were asking for, then times you don't even know what to take to the interview now. So by the time they got to me, the fiscal year September 30th had come. Okay, so sometimes that's how it is. All right, guys, thank you so much, and y'all have a good evening. All right, bye bye, guys. Bye bye.